Hae-Goo, welcome to our session at 10x Digital. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's a real pleasure to talk to you today. To start off, why don't you introduce yourself and Samsung SDS?
Hi everyone, my name is Hae-Goo Song. I am a EVP and the head of the Solution Business Division at the Samsung SDS. You may know Samsung, right? Samsung has many, affiliate, and the most well-known company is basically Samsung Electronics. And Samsung SDS is a kind of the IT arms for entire Samsung conglomerate. So as a company, basically we serve Samsung internal businesses as well as the external businesses in Korea and global. So we are an IT company, and recently we announced a new strategy to become a kind of the cloud company, and we are trying to expand our businesses from Korea to the global market.
Great, thank you so much. Samsung is, of course, a huge global company that is in various businesses, right, from mobile phones to displays to semiconductor to appliances, right? Of course, that creates quite a big complexity in the supply chain planning. Our audience today is very passionate about best-in-class supply chain planning organizations. So we'd like to kind of hear your perspective on how that evolution of the supply chain planning originated in Samsung and where is it today?
So I think Samsung is the most well-known global company out of the Korea. Recently, we have added some more companies like the Hyundai Motor, POSCO, or LG. But I think the key strengths of the Samsung is in the fact that they are really good at global operations. If you think of the Korea, in terms of size, it's a very small company. But Samsung, made a big step to become a global company through the global supply chain management. So when Samsung Electronics had expanded their business to the global, they faced a bunch of issues, right? Because they have set up lots of new subsidiaries in the overseas market, but each subsidiaries was doing their local optimization. There was no true global optimization control tower or process in the past. So to overcome this kind of difficulties and hurdles, 20 years ago, Samsung's management made the decision to set up the global operation center as a whole, the operating center for the global supply chain management. So to get to there, we had to build a standard process and system that can cover all the subsidiaries and all the supply chain activities together. So in that time frame, so basically they have built the supply chain management process and systems, which covers all the sales and production subsidiaries across different business units. This was a really challenging task in the past. But earlier, unlike these days, we didn't have a good platform which can support all these complexities together. So we have made a decision to come up with an architecture based on the best-of-breed approaches. For example, when it comes to planning engines, we pick up the best planning engine in that days, right? So basically, all the I2 engines. But engine itself was not good enough to support all users, the planning activities. That's why we pick up the Oracle DB as well as some, the UI platform to support end users, various planning activities. So we have been using this solution for 20 years. And this was really successful because, Samsung has electronics, they grew their business by maybe 10 times or 20 times. But with the same system, they were able to handle this scale, right? But now, it has been 20 years we have used these solutions. But now we are facing the new challenges, right? So current, the SCM operations are dependent on too many manual activities. And, for example, even for the forecasting, our sales guys are spending, I think, at least maybe more than 12 working hours per week just for managing the forecast in the system. This is not productive at all. But thanks to the technological advances that we have achieved these days, we believe that we can automate most of these manual activities with the latest technologies. That's why we made the decision to rebuild the castle that we have built 20 years ago. Well, this castle was really good and successful, but now we have to renovate this castle for the future so that it can be used for the next 20 years. With this vision, we pick up the online platform as a baseline platform to build the next generation SCM at the Samsung Electronics. The goal of this next generation SCM is to automate whatever task that is possible in terms of technology and the process execution. And we are going to add more intelligence to the system so that the planners can really focus on some creative activities rather than trying to address data issues or system issues or basic analytics. I believe that all the basic analytics, even plan analysis, should be supported by the latest technology such as the generative AI, right? We don't think that the generative AI itself is a kind of knowledge base. The core generative AI is in the fact that it's a language model. It can understand, right, the human's language. It can understand and it can express the data or the outcome from data analysis in human language. So by leveraging these capabilities, now we can automate a bunch of the so-called intelligent activities performed by the only people so far, right? We can automate this one. So that's the vision of the next generation SCM. That's why we are working together with O9 to come up with the domain-specific Gen AI-based automated model, right, on the SCM side. Because SCM is like a brain in the human body, right? ERP is like a nervous system or some arms and legs, right? It's very difficult to automate the human brain. But that's the kind of the analogy of the AI, right? So I believe that with the latest technological advances, we can, jump up the overall level of maturity of the supply chain management operations. Okay, that's the kind of vision that we have, and believe that with O9 and SDS, we can really, rebuild a fault-proof new castle for the next 20 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's just amazing vision, right? And I love the analogy of building for the next 20 years, right? Because that's a very, very difficult task, right? Given how fast both the Samsung as a company is growing and the different types of requirements that are coming through that growth and scale. And of course, right, the innovations that SDS and O9 are doing from a technology perspective. Maybe just for the audience, because I think many will be amazed, right, as to how you actually can operate as a global company, as a global process, right? As you said, Samsung was a pioneer in establishing these global operating centers. How do you think that organizational design and model is going to evolve over the next maybe 20 years? Do you see some next level of, as you said, automation, right, that will actually be supporting that new organizational model, or do you see something else on the horizon?
Okay. Yeah, as I said earlier, right, basically the level of automation will get higher, okay, with these new platform and solutions. And on top of that, I think the more important thing is in the fact that now we can convert trivial knowledge into the system knowledge, right? The planners, right? Planners have many, their own use cases and experiences. All these knowledges are not documented well, or is not systemized well. Okay, some of the knowledges even, live in my brain only. But that's the problems because, if those kind of knowledges are contained in certain human being, then basically, it cannot be consistent and it cannot be, preserved as a power of the company's, knowledge. So I think that with the latest technological advances like the, collaboration capabilities. I think we can store a bunch of different types of data in the systems. So to fully leverage generative AI's advantages, first of all, you need to have data that can be understandable by the LLM model, right? And now, maybe in the past, we have exchanged all those intelligence through phone calls or emails. But now, we can capture those kind of the conversations. I mean, email conversation can be recognized by the LLM, and we can, store those kind of knowledge in the vector database. So all these are possible right now. So I think that the key thing that people are missing is in the fact that we have to convert this tribal knowledge into the system knowledge. And now we have all the, enabling technologies, okay, in front of us. So basically, we just need to take the actions to convert these trivial knowledges into the system knowledges so that it can be accumulated as time goes by, and then so that we can leverage all those past experiences in the future decisions. And that is the future of the global operations center model that we have built in the past.
No, that's amazing, right? Because I love the way you use the analogy of a brain as a decision-making process and the system, right? And then the ERP as an execution arm of that, right? And do you see, as part of this next, let's say 20 years, where Samsung, in the end, is going to deploy basically a system of record for decisions, in addition to the currently kind of a system of record for transactions that you have in the ERP? Because I think, as you said, right, a lot of the decisions, right, are somewhat lost over time, right? And that kind of a system of record for decision is in most companies not existing at this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So these days, lots of people are talking about the cyclical nature of the semiconductor business, right? It's so cyclical, right? But the same is for decision making. I mean, the industry is following some cycle, and our decision also exactly following the same cycle, but we forgot whatever decision we have made 20 years ago, because all those knowledge are not in the system, and nobody knows what happened in the past. But if we can store those past decisions in the system, and we can leverage those past decisions for the decision for the future, then we can definitely improve the overall quality of decisions. So I think we should have a kind of system record in terms of decision-making process.
Yes, I love it. Because I think the people even learn, right, through simulations, right? And I think some level of a business simulator, right, is what is needed by the companies today. The same way, right, the pilots are learning how to fly using the flight simulators, right? We need a similar equivalent for the businesses. It's great. Thank you so much for this in-depth discussion on the vision and how you're going to accomplish it. Now, maybe let's expand our horizon a little bit, right? I think we talked a lot about the supply chain planning, which is typically within the four walls of your business, right? And let's talk about supplier relationship management, because I know that's one of the key topics and strategy and initiatives, right, for SDS, given your recent announcement to acquire a best-in-class SRM company, emro. So we'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on how do you see the convergence between the next generation supply chain management and the next generation supplier relation management.
Okay. So before speaking about talking about the emro-related initiatives, basically SRM initiatives, let's think about the past that we went through 20 years ago. 20 years ago, many people talked about the inter-enterprise supply chain management. So I'm a Samsung Electronics, for example. I'm a bunch of suppliers, and these suppliers are another suppliers, right? On the other side, we have retailers and then customers, right? So for the last 20 years, most of the innovations were focused on intra-enterprise as well as the channel supply chain. That's why we have done CPFL, and we have done sell-through-based forecasting or sell-out-based forecasting. Okay, but if we flip the angle, basically there is another sector on the upstream side. It's all about suppliers. But for the industry like the electronics, the most important part of the supply chain management is on the supplier side, because 60% of cost is about the part cost. Remaining 40% is production cost or promotion cost, etc. Right? Out of the product price, around 60% is basically part cost. The how to manage this part, how to manage this part of supply chain can be a true differentiators for the manufacturers like the Samsung Electronics. Right? So it's time to take action to realize an inter-enterprise optimization that we talked about 20 years ago. Right? We have got lots of technological advances. We have much better collaboration capabilities and much better network connectivities. And even for the information sharing or the capability of our suppliers IT department is improved a lot. So now it's time to really connect this supplier network and the manufacturer's network together. So, but for the last 10 years, I think there were a bunch of innovations on the procurement side, especially in the indirect procurement market. So network-based procurement. There are a bunch of players like the new emerging player like Coupa or old player like Ariba. Right? Those guys are pretty good at handling this indirect procurement. But from the manufacturer's perspective, our true differentiator or strength is in the direct procurement side. But unfortunately, there is no good solution in the market, in the global market, for the direct procurement practices. But we were lucky in the sense that now we have a pretty strong solution company who has all the expertise in the direct procurement market. They have covered all the industries in Korea. Korea is well known for the manufacturing, right? They were dominant players in Korean market, and no global players were successful in this domain. But they had a limitation because they didn't have a good channels or network to expand their business into the global market. So we found out these potentials, and we also found out the new platform enablers like the O9. So by connecting this O9 platform and this solution expert together, right? So we believe that we can change the direct procurement market for the future. So luckily, the most incumbent player is basically SAP, right? So I think it's perfect time for us to introduce a new solution. The good solution in the direct procurement market, right? On top of the latest platform provided by the O9. That's a kind of the vision that we laid out. That's why we took these partnerships. And that's why we made a decision to make a next generation SRM solutions on top of the O9 platform. So basically on top of the O9 platform, now we can have world best supply chain planning suite, right? O9's planning engine as well as our planning engines, and good in direct procurement solution on the SRM area. So basically we can provide a truly integrated supply chain management solution suite. And in the future, we have intention to expand this offering, including the supply chain execution like the transportation management solutions as well as warehouse management solutions. We are working on it right now, but that's a vision that we have, truly integrated one single supply chain management platform, okay, powered by O9.
That is so amazing. That is so amazing, and it's I love the vision, and I love the team that's executing, because I think this is a very very capable, very visionary team between these companies. Maybe for the audience, where in this new kind of integrated supply management solution space, what is your recommendation? How do companies think about, right? Because some of these journeys, right, will take some time, right? And what do you recommend as your kind of a typical sequence of events, right? As companies are starting to wrap their hands around where do we start?
Yeah. So I mean, basically SRM and SCP, right? Both are kind of the essential function of the truly integrated supply chain management. But to begin with, at least we need to have a bare minimum of each solution component. For example, when it comes to supply chain planning, you need to have a planning engines and planning platform. For SRM, at least you need to have a pretty good P2P capabilities. We can start from there. Then we can start from the P2P. When it comes to SRM, we can start from P2P first, and then maybe supplier collaborations, or supply chain, supply risk management, or maybe we can add up some AI-enabled, capabilities like the item doctor. This is one of the AI-based solution that emro developed, which is basically recommending, the similar part based on the whatever history that we have. So people are, having some difficulties in identifying the right part based on the specification requirement that we got. But people are making lots of mistakes here and there. We can clean up all those mistakes just by leveraging this kind of AI capabilities. But it's a little bit advanced one. Let's build up the fundamentals first, then we can add up the more intelligent workflows. So when we launch this product early next year, that we can present the entire solution map. Now, what is the core and what is the kind of advanced ones, and we will suggest the right sequence of implementations to have the truly integrated supply chain management suite as a whole.
Love it, love it, love it. No, thank you. Thank you for the explanation and the useful advice to the companies thinking about taking that step. Maybe also let's touch upon, I think we all kind of see the climate change being impacting a lot of different countries this particular year, right? And we all know, right, that a lot of a carbon footprint of any company is inside of their supply chain, integrated supply chain, right? Maybe let us know your kind of a vision as an executive in a very large global organization with a huge, very lengthy supply chain as to how you think some of these new technologies are going to be helpful maybe in reducing that overall footprint, not only of Samsung, but your supplier network as well.
Yeah, okay. So I think regarding the carbon emission, the control, I do like the Onaim founders mission statement, right? I think company is the biggest consumer and biggest carbon consumer, basically, right? Because we are making lots of things and we are moving those things from here to there, right? And sometimes we are destroying some obsolete things, right? The stuff. So basically, if we can optimize all this movement and the amount of product that we have to make and amount of stocks that we have to build up, then amount of the movement, right, across the entire supply chain. If we can optimize all these activities, then basically we can reduce the waste. I think that's the biggest contribution that we can do for the earth, okay, as a supply chain practitioners. I truly believe that supply chain management solution is a kind of a key enablers for us to help out the climate issues in general. If you can make a big progress in supply chain management, then I think we can be the greatest contributor for the climate change.
Thank you. Thank you for that optimistic vision, and look forward to kind of seeing where this integrated supplier management solution goes. So thank you a lot for the participation today, and I look forward to answering some of the Q&A of the session. So thanks, Hae-Goo.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and thanks for having me today. Thank you.